Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the Referral Wave, the Sunny Coast BNI's very own podcast. My name's Tony Cross, and by day I've got a business called Drive Connect. But today I'm hosting this fantastic podcast, and we've got Bhavna on again from Stepping Into You. So welcome along, Bhavna. Great to have you again.
Thanks, Tony. Lovely to be on again.
So we've been chatting heaps over the last course of the week because there was a few of us from the Sunshine Coast that attended the national conference, the BNI National Conference down in Manly, which is a great place. So we've been chatting a fair bit. But before we get on to a few conference things, just let's bring us up to speed with Stepping Into You. You're a member of Northern Lights down there in Mooloolaba on Thursday mornings. How's things down there? And let's talk about you for a bit.
Yeah, things in Northern Lights are going well. As a chapter, we're doing all of the wonderful things to pass the referrals and as much as we can and more, pushing ourselves to do more. Business is going well with the lens of the business clearing. So people becoming quite more and more curious about those. Certainly the newer members are like, what is this? We spoke to so-and-so and they were talking about business clearings with you. What is that? And when I go through that with them, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Not sure how it works. I was like, you don't have to worry about how it works. I just do that. I do the how part. So that's really exciting, actually, because it's more in the energy, more of the energetics, and working with the energetics of reality, which is where I get to have a little bit more play. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying people asking and engaging with those processes.
So with the business clearing and that sort of things, where do you go after that? So more about the services of Stepping Into You. So obviously that can be a sort of stage one platform, but where do we go after that?
So I see it as so the energetic clearing is removing all of that dust, if you like. But then on top of that, it's in the individual person. So the individual person, we've got our belief systems that we have built up and locked in over the years from when we were kids, and then reinforced and more over the next several decades. So it's looking at those belief systems to see if they're actually serving you. They may have at some point, but if they're preventing, limiting your growth, then that's what we can work on, shifting and putting new beliefs in and programming new beliefs so that your mindset is actually, and your subconscious is actually aligned with the goals that you have for your life and for your business. And then working with the emotional body, so the individual's emotional body and physical body, to remove the stress out of the system. So that takes people down the path of my personal mastery program, which is usually a week on week, and we having a session with me, and we work on little bits at a time and address any stresses, concerns, challenges coming up in the moment, happening in that week, that we can then shift and create more ease and flow around. And I love it. I think it's really important to work on the individual, because that's where the shifts become a little bit more permanent. You're actually growing from the inside. Me coming in and doing the energetic clearing, it lifts the system, sometimes a little, sometimes a lot, on the individual person, say the business owner. It lifts the energy a little bit or a lot, as I said. But all of the other interactions and interferences that happen then over the next few days, weeks, months, they can be affecting the individual again. So when we work with the mindset and the emotional bodies to create that strength from the inside, it becomes, it sticks more. So, you don't have to do as much because it's not affecting you and or the business in the same way.
And you get some clarity around yourself so that you can make better, clearer business decisions. Correct in saying that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some people you just don't actually know sometimes, like the self-sabotage. sometimes you actually don't know that you're self-sabotaging and I've seen it for myself and kind of look at it with fascination. It's like, my goodness, my subconscious mind is so smart. It's created this thing that I'm afraid of, and it's turned it into this thing in my external reality. At a very quick glance, none of the two are connected. But there's this beautiful woven story, and it's like, oh, okay, if we do this, then it will keep us in this. And I just kind of, yeah, when I've seen it of myself, I'm just in shock and awe and fascinated that that's what we're capable of. But so many people just, and I would say most people don't actually know what their self-sabotage is. We logically explain something that's happening as a challenge away and then move on, and not realizing that it is actually a self-sabotage or a self-protection.
So how long have you been in BNI for now?
2.5 months. Oh, years. Not two.
That's only 2.5 months. 2.5 years.
Years.
Yeah. So talk to me about the journey and of your BNI experience, because you know, I mean, you make good use of BNI on the Sunshine Coast, even though it's just been in the national conference. But on the Sunshine Coast, I want you to talk. Sorry, I want you to talk a little bit around visiting other chapters.
Yeah.
Because you like doing that. A lot of people don't. I think it's vitally important that people do visit other chapters, even if they've got the same person, you know, category in that chapter. Talk us through about your method behind visiting other chapters and what you get out of that.
So usually I'll try to go as a substitute,
Yeah.
On the basis of helping somebody out. So that individual that I'm subbing for, feels cared for, feels like I've supported them, which, you know, I want to be able to do. And obviously starts building a relationship with them. My goal with going to other chapters last year was to go to 2 other chapters on the Sunshine Coast a month. And I would say on average, I probably achieved that. I did want to get to some in Brisbane once a month, but I haven't quite been able to get that scheduled down pat. But the importance of going to other chapters is that the network is beyond just your own chapter. And there's opportunity, as you said, even if the category is already occupied in another room, in another team. There's opportunities to collaborate, there's opportunities to connect, there's opportunity to be the backup person if the one in your own chapter's booked out. And so that's you receiving, but then being able to give referrals, you're widening your own network and potential people that you can refer to. So I have and do use and have referred individuals in other chapters because the categories don't exist in Northern Lights. No, we don't have that profession. An example would be Dave in your chapter. So he's the only mechanic on the coast in BNI, which is amazing and great for him. And I would definitely be saying to him, you need to go visit the other chapters. And particularly in those cases. So for myself, because my seat is a little bit more unique, there isn't any competition conflict when I go to another chapter. And, you know, with our coaches, obviously, I'm happy not to introduce myself during the meeting, but the open networking is still an opportunity to talk to people. And for me, when there are other coaches or like similar therapists, practitioners, it's an opportunity for that collaborative approach, because not everybody wants to work with me and I don't want to work with everyone. So if it's not a right fit, who in my network do I trust and know that they give good service that I can refer on to?
Yep.
And even before BNI, I was referring work on to people that were calling me for very specific type of energy modality. And I would explain to them, I'm trained in that, but I don't do that. I know people who do. I know someone who I can refer you to. And everyone, like, it's nice to be able to have that type of, that ability to refer others.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the key point there you make is expanding your referral network. You know, like we both come out of chapters that are 30 odd people, you know, not the largest chapters in the country, not the smallest. So we do have a lot of people at our disposal in our chapter. But that said, I'd like to think that I had 100 people to refer from. And by going and visiting other chapters, and even going to Sydney last week, you know, I mean, there was people there at conference that didn't do anything. You know, there was none people that do that on the coast, right? And I think that's a great point. It just makes, puts more stuff in your bag so that you can say to someone that comes to you, hey, you know, not in my group, but in this group, that person exists. And that's one of the things I like most about it, is that you just don't have to be pigeonholed in your own chapter. You know, there's all those, you know, it's 250 odd people on the coast now.
Yeah. And
You
what
know,
a what a useful resource to tap into, and what a waste if you're not tapping into it.
well, it goes back from, you know, obviously it's givers gain, so you're giving out referrals, but then you're also getting referrals back. And, you know, we had a slide this morning at our chapter. You know, last calendar year, $17 million, 248 people. Like, how do you get your slice of that? You know, how do you get involved in that whole thing? Yes, you get a slice if you stay in your chapter, but you get a bit bigger one if you head out, you know,
Yeah.
and especially off the coast. Yeah.
One thing that I've
So
Sorry, I've also add
yeah,
one thing that I've found really valuable as well is when I'm bringing visitors. So people that I know outside of BNI, because you know there are people I know outside BNI. Um, an example of a friend who has recently gone into business, and it's like, well, I invited him along to BNI. I was like, you've got to come. If nothing else, just to get some connections and get connected with some business owners. You don't have to do anything else with it. Just start having conversations. He wasn't able to attend Northern Lights because of personal family responsibilities. So I went along with him to a couple of other chapters and was able to, with his own feedback, say to him, because he wanted to join. I was like, actually, yeah, you know, your chapter, Sunrise. I was like, actually, I feel like that's going to be the best fit for you in terms of growth for your business, but also being able to pass referrals and give work. So I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't been visiting the other chapters. I wouldn't know where to send people if they can't come to Northern Lights. And that relationship of being able to message someone and say, hey, I'm sending a visitor. Can you please look after them?
well,
So, you
and
know, that relationship is really invaluable because you're not just building your own chapter, you are building that wider network.
well, and as I said, as a friend of yours, I think we're talking about the same person in Mick. And, you know, yeah, it's a friend of yours. And then, yeah, he comes over to our chapter, and we look after him just like you would have looked after him at your chapter. I've got Mick slated while we're on Mick. We won't give anything else away other than the name. I've got Mick slated to come on in probably a month or so's time, because as you
Yeah.
well know, he joined, then he left the company that he's working for and has gone out and started his own business
Yeah.
slash brand. And he walked into BNI right at the right time, because at his disposal, he had all these people to help him out, and, you know, people had been through it before, people could help his stuff. So Mick's story is going, when we get there, it is going to be really, really good, because there's a guy that was a friend of yours you entrusted to our chapter that had this pivot in his life and went a different direction, but everyone was there to help him. So it's going to be one of those great BNI stories when it happens. So let's get on to the conference.
Yeah.
The social butterfly, I was going to call you, but you were flitting around and meeting everyone, and that you could, which we all were, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
How did you go? Did you enjoy it?
I did. I really did enjoy it. I felt like there was some really incredible speakers um, throughout the whole event, through the DNA day and then through the main couple of days. um, Peter Merritt, his story, his keynote on the official day one was, yeah, it was engaging. It was thoughtful. It was, what's that one other thing that we can do? What else? Like that was a really big takeaway for me. It's the what else, which, as you're aware, leaving the conference, we wanted we wanted some airline staff to ask the question as well. What else?
That's right. Yeah, that's
um,
right.
so if it's something that listeners are thinking about whether they should go or not, I would definitely say yes. From a professional development perspective, there's so much packed in about how to do personal development, how about the service that you're offering in your business, about networking, about utilizing AI in your organization, about marketing, like all of those little different aspects of business, and about self. There was wellness in
Yeah.
it too. So it's a great space to get pockets of information. And I said this after last year's national to some friends, that it's the first conference, and last year's conference, it's the first time I've been at a conference where everybody smiled at you.
Yeah.
And I've been to many conferences over the last couple of decades. And even the business expo that I went to a couple of days ago, there's a force in getting people to smile back at you, but I smiled anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was such a contrast. It was such a contrast from having been at the BNI National for 3 days, 4 days, and to going to this other business expo where people just genuinely want to listen.
Mm.
They want to listen what it is that you do and are thinking about connections.
Oh,
So everybody was thinking about the connection and who can I connect you with? And granted, there's short conversations during the breaks
yeah.
in the open networking. Um, but I'm pleased to be able to have connected a couple of people. I'm working on some connections for some people that I spoke with, which is really cool. And I've got loads of one-to-ones to schedule and I've started to. So, getting to connect with national businesses is wonderful as well.
The thing I got out of it is, there's lots, but been to other conferences before in other industries, and everyone there is sort of competitors.
Um,
There was a lot of competitors, or could have been competitors in that room, because there's a lot of double ups in businesses, right? But for the 450, 500 people, I'm not sure of the exact number, there was not one competitor. No one was competing. Even though there were similar businesses, no one was competing. Um, and I find for the most part that even flows on just even to the Sunshine Coast. You know what I mean? Like there's people in the same industry, they collab together all the time and help each other have jobs. But that was my big thing, was that everyone was in there, you're right, with a smile on your face. I don't think I've swapped so many business cards in a lift or done, like I got a bloke's car to sell in Sydney and we did it between floors 4 and 6. Like it, it it's just one of those things where, yeah, as I said, even though people, might have the same industry, was not a competitor in sight. Everyone was there for self or for learning and to help promote and refer other people.
what was one of your highlights in terms of the speakers?
Look, I'm a Phil Berg fan. If I had the money to travel to the UK and listen to him speak at his own meetings, I would do that. He's fantastic. But Peter Werrett blew me away. I was sitting beside two ladies, and 10 minutes into it, they're both crying. Because he's doing the thing about his children at the school go. Anyway, I'm like, geez, you're right. They're like, oh, I've been away from home for 2 days and I'm missing the kids. They're all like a blubbering mess. But here's the message. His message is so strong, but it's so simple. It's just something every day. And as you know, our other business is a hire car business based in the tourism industry. And in between his talk and things, I had to go upstairs and deal with a couple of touristy issues. And I come down and I said to him, I said, I went up there with a whole different mindset. You know, I'd gone from like just, not, I never talked about my customers like just another customer on holidays, but you know what I mean? Like you get in the groove of putting these people in hire cars on a daily basis. But yeah, anyway, so we had a great chat about it. So I really liked the way that it was just simple, everyday life stuff. You didn't have to really, there was no mind blowing, engaging, like understanding AI or something like that. It was like, and to go on from that, I think it was a perfect talk in the age that we're in with AI and things like that. It was a fantastic talk because it was just the basics. It was just the simple life things you do.
Human, all the human thing.
Yep.
And it's interesting, in his presentation, him talking to that building in London, the office building, and how he brought all of these contractors together to work as a team. And they've got no interest in each other's company, but equally, they're operating all in isolation by themselves. And it's that little bit of parallel to BNI. We're all operating in isolation by ourselves in our own respective companies. And then we come together in this chapter and we're one team.
Yep.
And how are we showing up for one another in that one team to make each other successful?
Yeah, correct. Yep. Yeah, so no, there was look, again, like all BNI conferences I've been to, I've never seen a bad one. They've all been, fantastic. And the even Tony Meredith's talk, because he does a BNI podcast in Brisbane, so his talk was really good. I believe they're going to have all of the videos of those things broken up, so people will be able to see them in the future as well. So that'll be good. We got to rewatch them. Yeah, so it was good. And the one thing what I was going to say was, and I was explaining this to people before, because a couple of people go, oh, like, did you get your fill of BNI, at the conference? And I must admit, I can remember the first, before I even went to one of the DNA days, I thought, and I was driving to Brisbane for it, and I'm thinking, I'm just going to get my BNI brainwash on, or, whatever it was going to be. And I was driving home going, I wasn't thinking about BNI at all. It was all things for me, and I've had to explain that to a few people about the conferences. Yes, it's a BNI conference, but I don't come home feeling BNI-ish. I come home with, I sold heaps of answers for questions that I had before I went, because I knew what it was going to be like now that I've been to a couple.
Mm.
So anyone listening, I would 100% encourage you to go along, because, it's not, don't get me wrong, they have some great talks on how to use the BNI system to your advantage. Yep. What does Phil call it? BNI stands for batteries not included.
Yeah.
Right? And that's so true. You can be a member. You can be a member and sit in the corner and, hope like hell you get your money back. And when you get one job and you pay for your membership, go, woohoo, I've had a win. Or, you can use it to your advantage. So, yeah. Highly encourage anyone to go along.
That was the biggest thing that I took from his one. It's not doing BNI, it's using BNI. And, for me, the shift has been, and it was really nice to see it actually in the conference, the language. And it's something that I've been speaking to my chapter about. It's that language. We don't do BNI, and we go to business breakfast with other business people. And even from one of the leadership training a few months ago, one of the executive directors said, well, what's a one-to-one? It's a business meeting with a business professional for a business outcome. And how many of us go into those one-to-ones with that as the equation? And same as the conference, it's a business event with business professionals for a business outcome.
Correct. It's the perfect way to put it. Well, thanks, Bhavna.
My pleasure.
It's been great. Look, I'm going to do some follow-ups and do some more as we go along. We could talk about it all day. but in the interest of keeping them around that sort of 25, 30 minutes per episode, because it's been half an hour already, right? So, but it doesn't take long. So I'm going to be doing some follow-ups because, I would really love to see a swag more people coming. Next year it's in Melbourne, same time of the year, May. I'd love to see more people from the Sunshine Coast come down. So I want to do a few of these with people over there and some follow-ups with yourself. So anyway, it was fantastic. It was great spending a couple of days with you, even though I didn't see you very much, ducking in and out of the crowds. And yeah, it was fantastic. So thanks for your company. Thanks for being on the podcast. Enjoy all the lights, and we'll see you around the coast soon.